Hello there, everyone. This is Victor from eCoffee with Experts again here at Digital Web Solutions on our YouTube channel and LinkedIn pages. And today, since we're all talking about how the world's getting connected and flight tickets and plane tickets are getting more and more expensive, why won't we talk about a low-cost firm who's running in Iceland, running from Europe to the United States? We have right here Andri Geir. Andri, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing, my friend?
Firstly, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm doing great, enjoying the winter here in Iceland. We have cold weather, around 0 degrees, and we should be able to see some northern lights tonight.
Oh, that's have you ever and like growing up, this is not even a question that I was gonna shoot in the podcast, but growing up, how many of these natural things you've saw, the aurora borealis, everything else that we can see
Uh,
on Iceland?
I mean the Aurora Borealis. I see that a few times a week
It's
actually.
amazing.
And especially here in Iceland, during this season right now, we only get around 5 to 6 hours of
Sun?
daylight. So the Northern Lights are really visible during this time. Another natural things is I think we've had now in the last 3 years. I might be saying incorrect numbers, but I think we have 8 or 9 volcanic eruptions
Okay.
around 40 minutes away from the city center. So we have been doing it oftentimes when we fly in. We do a little flyby by the volcano for the passengers to see outside the window. It's not active right now, so it shut down 2 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Okay. Well, good for 2025 then, right? No
Yeah,
volcanic
yeah.
activities in 2025 if we are lucky. Amazing. And you're already talking about the plane going through the volcanoes, and this is something that I was gonna ask later on. I think first of all, let's just introduce you to the public, right? If you can tell us a little bit about your whole story as a plane, as I was saying, a plane guy. So you are graduated in this, you're working with this for a while, you know about planes, you know about
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah.
Please enlighten us.
Okay, so as you said, my name is Andri, and I'm the COO of Play Airlines, a low-cost carrier here in Iceland. I got my first job actually, I'm not listing and out on my CV. I started in aviation as a teenager back in 2000.
Wow.
My first work job there was cleaning the hangar floors where aircraft came in to be maintained. I did that for a few years and I kind of got like the what we call the aviation bug. It's a saying that once you start in aviation, you kind of get stuck in it,
I
and
see.
it becomes addicting. A few years later, after I finished the schools and all that, I went to Denmark to start my studies in aircraft maintenance. That was 5 years. After that, I went to Iceland there, working as a technician for 7 years. Went then to Air Atlanta, where I got to travel around the world a little bit. Was there for 3 years, I think it was.
Okay.
Moved back to Iceland to work at WoW, where I was in very back in those days. WoW was still a startup, and it only had 2 or 3 aircraft, and we were planning this major growth of growing from 3 aircraft to 20 aircraft. And so really good experience to be involved in all that growth, and I learned a lot. And then WoW went bankrupt in March in
Yeah.
2019. We were a small group of people who were managers within WoW who decided to go and try to start up an airline, which was a very interesting time, and people thought here in Iceland that we were crazy. So that work started in July in 2019.
Okay.
With the goal of that we were supposed to start flying in, I think initially we were supposed to start flying in what was it, December 20, or I think it was, yeah,
Oh, 2020. And then COVID hit?
Yes, and then COVID
Mm,
hit. We kind of had to park all of our plans, go back to the drawing board, and search for investment again into the company. And then in 2021, 24th of June, we took our first commercial flight, scheduled flight, and started with 3 aircraft, and then we've been growing now for the last years and have 10 aircraft in our fleet
that's great.
and flying to around 40 destinations.
Can you mention some of the top destinations so that people can already picture
Okay.
themselves flying with your planes?
40 destinations. So we use Iceland kind of like as a hub. It's easy to connect from and to Europe and the States. So we
Hmm.
fly to Boston, Washington, New York, Toronto. We go to London, Paris, Dublin.
Champions League destinations, basically, here
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Europe and then in the US, the big cities.
and all over Spain, and
Great.
we do a lot of sunny destinations.
Sunny destinations. One of the things that's really caught my attention while looking at your website mainly, we were talking beforehand. When we think of low cost airplanes, we usually think about Ryanair. They have, I believe, the biggest market share in this segment, right?
Yeah.
EasyJet comes later.
Hmm.
But they are all transportation things, right? They are airplanes. And then I
Hmm.
noticed about the stayover in Iceland that you have at FlyPlay.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not even gonna talk to the people about it because I think it was an I think it is an amazing idea. Could you please share with us what am I saying here so that they understand why am I so eager to fly with you
Yeah.
guys?
So let's say that if you are traveling from the States to Europe or vice versa, and you want to connect to us, so usually you can get our connecting flight in Keflavik to go onwards just I think within 90 minutes after you land. You have the option to have a stayover in Iceland, so you can stay for 2 to 3 days without any additional cost on the plane ticket
Hmm.
and for that, just to take a few days here, see some nature, and experience Iceland a little bit. So that's basically the product.
How did this idea started about staying in Iceland for a while if you're getting a connection flight?
This is a product which has been known in Iceland for many years.
Oh, okay.
This is not something unique to Play as.
The government in Iceland is helping with this. Is it something related to them as well to help tourism in the country?
There are the government has a lot of incentives to
Hmm.
drive tourism, and Iceland really got known worldwide back in, I think it was like 10, 15 years ago, when we had the big eruption which closed down all air traffic.
Okay. Do you
Uh,
enlighten me about this? I was living in Brazil when I was a kid back then.
yeah, it was 15 years ago roughly. Then we had a big eruption, a glacier, a volcano called Eyjafjallajökull. It was very fun to see all the foreign media trying to pronounce that.
I can imagine.
There are some YouTube compilation videos of people butchering it. But that closed down all air traffic for a week over the North Atlantic.
Hmm.
So that kind of got Iceland on the map, and which our tourism kind of blew after that.
Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. And then we're talking about Iceland. Iceland, you mentioned, and we know that you come from WoW Air as well, which is not active anymore. You even have videos on YouTube saying, is Play the new WoW Air? So naturally, those who already know you or know the situation are asking the same. You started working at other companies, you've met WoW Air eventually, and then you got to FlyPlay.
Hmm.
How was it? How was in terms of leaving WoW, helping founding Play itself? I know that it's you and other founders who were together at first, but the things that I know are the ones written in your website. So if you can just talk about it as well.
Yeah, I mean it was so. Uh, so WOW was a fantastic airline, and kind of showed the Icelandic market that there is place for two airlines
Hmm.
to be based here. So our competitor Icelandair has been here for 90 so years. However, after WOW went bankrupt, and you know after WoW went bankrupt, we still believe, and as WoW proved, there is a market here. but there are we just needed to make some changes to in order to make sure that WoW doesn't end the same. Play doesn't end the same as
As
WoW.
well.
Yeah, we had to do some fundamental changes, and that is, to take all means to keep our cost low. So simplifying stuff. If you look at the fleet structure of aircraft from WoW, where they had, I believe, 5 different engine types. They had narrow body, wide body aircraft.
Okay.
Had business class seats. They had so they were kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Instead of what we are doing, we're just very simple. We have one type of aircraft, one type of engine type, economy seats, simple products, and therefore we keep our costs low, and we have now gained a big portion of the market share in terms of at least leisure traffic
Great.
from Iceland. So
Congratulations.
there's yeah. So and it's been quite an interesting and a fun journey. Starting from back in the early days. When we were taking turns meeting at each other's houses to have meetings, in terms of getting our first office, in terms of then starting hiring people, making the deal for our first aircraft, and
Sure.
so on. And right now we are around 550 people employed with the
Wow, that's
company.
great.
So it's been a very very fun journey, and luckily, because it's so important to have such a good network base. It wouldn't have been possible to start up Play unless you had all the right connections and network within the aviation industry.
Okay, you were mentioning that some people at first were calling you all crazy
Yes,
for
yes.
starting this. Why were they saying that? How are you feeling back then? What changed so far?
It was just, WoW was such a big company within Iceland. When WoW went bankrupt, it affected our currency, Icelandic currency.
Okay.
Uh, and people were just, I think the market was just afraid to see another airline
Yeah.
trying to attempt what seemed to be very similar as WoW did.
Hmm.
So we were being, yeah, called out for.
I can see that, like, hey guys, you have this that just went wrong. Why are you trying to replicate it, right? I can see that. It's nice to see, as you already said, you know why wow didn't work out in the end. We just can't reproduce the same things, the same mistakes, right? And whenever I'm thinking about the airlines, and again, especially with the term low cost, people nowadays are getting less patience regarding, and I'm not saying about fly play at all. I'm just saying about the other ones, the memes that I see, the threads that I read about. People are not getting satisfied enough, but I also always see, yeah, you're not satisfied, but you managed to land in Rome due to the low cost airplane, right? So you have the two sides of things. You have a equipment which will take you from place A to place B, but you're kind of stuck during this trip, right? You can go to the
Mhm,
bathroom and sit down. But you also have the affordability of meeting new places because of the existence of your company.
mhm,
When we take this into consideration, we can easily understand that some of those who fly with you, some of your passengers, may have become fans, right? And are now flying anywhere they can with you. And we also have those who would do everything, would cross by boat to Iceland, but wouldn't catch a low cost plane just because of the reputation some brands have. What do you do currently to make sure that Play is not, it is an ultra low cost airline, which is totally fine, but it's taking into consideration the human being and the comfort during the plane, the flight itself.
Yeah, that's a good question. We actually do a few things. One of the things which are one of our priorities is well, of course, safety is always our number one
Same.
priority. Another thing, because that's on-time performance. so that our aircraft arrive and depart at the scheduled times. And this is something which all airlines measure themselves against. Like I think I saw this news article the other day that Iberia was number one in Europe with Cerium with 87% on-time performance throughout
Okay.
the last year. We are not big enough to be considered in Cerium, but I mean our year to date last year was 87.5.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
we only got two bad months, which was December and January this year. That was just due to weather in Iceland. That can be really bad and cause delays. But apart from that, I mean, I think I'll have to check my traffic group. I think the month before we were at 90.7% on time performance. So the customer knows that when they buy a ticket with us, that they will go on time and
Nice.
be on time when they come. So that's one thing. Another thing is the atmosphere. Just the experience for the passenger who's going to fly with us. He walks aboard our aircraft, which are very nice livery. They're red
I saw the
and
pictures.
yeah, kind of flashy. They're greeted by our cabin crew, which are very, have a very modern uniform.
Okay.
We were one of the first ones to introduce that our cabin crew use sneakers on board.
I've never seen this before, so it is indeed the first time. Yes, really nice.
Yeah. And I'm always being asked more and more. People ask me for models when I'm meeting with, but I've been more and more asked for the sneakers because we're trying to play sneakers.
Nice.
So it's just the atmosphere, the service, the products available for the passenger to be on board. We do also, so because we have, narrow body aircraft, which are manufactured to fly short to medium range, but
Okay.
we are kind of doing long flights. Flying to the US from Iceland can take 5 hours. Tenerife takes 5.5 hours. So there's a long flight. So what we do there is that we offer more space between the seats, more leg room.
Which is amazing nowadays.
Yes, and we used the latest leather seats and stuff like that. So and we have been awarded for we were awarded by USA Today for the best cabin crew in 23. We have I think now second time in a row been the best North low cost airline in Northern Europe. So we won the customer satisfaction awards here in Iceland. So it's the you get a lot for what you're paying.
Hmm. I see. I see.
So yeah, they and you do that by mostly you have to be on time and have good cabin crew with you.
And what else does the COO also have concerns regarding the flights themselves?
Well, concerns. I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces
Hmm.
moving an aircraft from A to B. And so, in order to move an aircraft from A to B, you need to have a qualified flight crew, cabin crew. You need the aircraft to be, maintained by maintenance teams. You need ground handlers to load the aircraft, to check in the passengers.
Yes.
Uh, you need to have a strict and comprehensive compliance monitoring system for flight safety. So there's a lot of moving parts
Okay.
when it comes to aviation.
I
So
see.
so as a COO within the company, I'm responsible for everything which comes to involves moving the aircraft from A to B.
I see. That's great. And that's the most important part of the whole company, in my opinion, because we want to get to place B when we get into an airplane, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's basically what we all expect. We have so many movies showing people doesn't always land on airplanes. So whatever you can feel whatever you can make the passenger more comfortable and then feeling safer during an airplane, the best. Because again,
yeah.
you have so many traumas and and I remember maybe, and we all say that it's usually the media that gives this, right? But I remember me growing up seeing a lot of airplane accidents back in Brazil, and then you can only see maybe one of them during a year, but that only one is gonna stick to your mind until the last day of your life. You have this with elevators, you have this with airplanes, you have this with boats. People are naturally scared. Do you want to add something regarding
No, no,
this?
no,
No.
no, no, no.
And one of the things, the reason why I'm actually giving this topic is because Even though COOs have their own responsibilities, the CEO, the CTO, every C level have their own responsibilities. At the end of the day, everybody wants to make sure that the passengers are happy.
Hmm.
At the same time, you also want to make sure that you're always getting new passengers to make sure that the flights are paying for themselves.
True.
Not into a customer acquisition term, but could you give us an overview of how an airline must get new customers? Where is your favorite channel to get these customers? Where do you invest in marketing? How is the marketing situation overall?
I'm not a commercial
Of course.
expert on the market. So, but we do measure our passenger profiles in three segments.
Okay.
So we measure three types of traffic. So we measure the to traffic. That's tourists coming to Iceland,
Hmm.
to visit Iceland, and then they have the from traffic, which is Icelandic people based in Iceland going for vacation, and
Okay.
then we have what we call the via traffic, which is connecting traffic. How you get the customers is just through. I mean, 90% of ours is just online advertisement, online marketing, going through various. If you offer good prices, you come up higher in the search engines of Google.
Yes, it is true. SEO helps with that. Yes. Would it be okay for me to ask you about SEO? Is it something that even if 1% gets into your day-to-day basis, you could share, or is this something really out of your scope right now?
It's really out of my scope.
I see.
Sonia, our chief commercial officer, she would
It would
be
be the
perfect as well.
okay, I see. But that's fine because again, the podcast here, the episode, sometimes I go to marketing, sometimes I go to SEO, but not every day we have people from airlines here. So let's continue over the subject because I do have one question that I'm eager to hear the answer for. 2025 just started.
Hmm.
With it, a lot of new dreams, a lot of new hopes, a lot of
Hmm.
expectations for the world, right? And I always ask my friends, family, those that I meet here, their plans and expectations for this year. When we're talking about an airplane company, we're also talking about external things that may happen that can harm your business, just like you said, the weather in December and January, right? So you have the weather, there's nothing you can do about the weather, and that's it. What else have you seen across WoW, across all of the other places you worked and here, uh, that could be changed this year for the better?
For the better.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I closely monitor is price of fuels.
Okay.
For the last 2 to 3 months, fuel price have been trending downwards. So if that continues, that's going to greatly benefit us. I mean, around 35% of all cost for us as an airline is fuel.
Okay. And it's an
So
important one.
yes, yes, and but that's something I can't have any
Mhm.
impact on.
Yeah. No, it's more than clear. Fuel, weather condition, again, everything external, especially fuel. Fuel is one of the
Fuel,
biggest
yes.
external factors that can change the business, right?
Yes.
Uh,
So by keeping, if that trend's good, then we're pretty happy.
I see. I see. In terms of, for example, we are now here. You've been working in the market for almost 18, 19 years, right? In the
Yes, yes, yes. In the aviation sector, yes.
in the aviation market, yes. And you mentioned, and I love this, that you started by cleaning the floor of hangars.
Yeah.
Um, Today, now that you're here as a COO, any youngling starting in this market, in this business, what would you tell them if they ask for your advice?
What would I tell them if I asked me why? I mean, right now the industry is screaming for qualified people. We are seeing pilot shortages, industry expert shortages. So it's a really good sector to join right now.
Hmm?
Uh, so depending if you're going, depending on what that individual is going to do, I mean, there's a lot of work to be found, and if you are willing to travel a lot, then this is the industry for you, but it can be very demanding. So
Hmm.
you this is this is very seldom a 9 to 5 job. It's like the first thing I do every morning when I wake up. I just check, did all of our aircraft go on time.
I see.
Uh, I check before. I usually go to sleep around midnight. That's around the time where our aircraft are departing from the States. I just
Okay.
check they departed on time. So it's a very demanding. I would advise young people to be aware of that before joining the industry.
It is a good advice. It is a good advice because usually I have one friend 15 years ago wanting to become a pilot because of the salary back in Brazil. Pilots make a lot of money. So, especially nowadays with how money is getting more and more important to our lives, right? We're definitely going to see a booming of people applying to jobs, but sometimes not being qualified enough for that. So I do see your point. It is a great advice for all those who want to start. Like it can be good, and I imagine there are a lot of good things in the market, but the stress, the pressure themselves, they're also a part of the game, right? They're
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's also fun. It becomes addicting.
I see. That's great to know. And then, just like one last thing before I leave you, fly away. I let you fly away. Anything you'd like to share regarding play for this year, the next one, for those who travel with you, for those who are watching you now and are thinking about traveling with you?
Uh, just want to highlight that I really recommend staying 2 to 3 days. Take time from your trip to stop over here in Iceland and have a look around. It's a really beautiful country, and both during summer and winter, it's I'd highly recommend that.
When is the best time to fly to Iceland?
It depends what you're looking for. Do you want to go skiing, see the Northern
I
Lights?
imagine people will want to go see the ice part of Iceland. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we have that year all year round. So,
Mhm.
but then during summer you can come here July. You have 24 hours of daylight, and
24 hours.
yes. So you could go, rent a van, a camper, and go drive around the country. It takes around 10 days.
I see. And then, as you
So
said, as I learned from the website, we have to pay for our accommodation, of course. So we pay the hotel, but the
yeah,
ticket themselves, they will be there for me. I won't have to pay anything else to
no,
stop and then resume my chair.
correct,
Right.
correct.
This is great. I think now under the moment that I really put Iceland into my map was the World Cup.
Oh yes.
Yes, was the time where I already knew about the country, of course, but that was the first time that I saw people from Iceland cheering at the state. I remember the story about the players having second jobs, right? Actually, playing soccer was their second job. We had
Yes.
engineer. You could be there at the World Cup, right? If I remember correctly, people like you, corporate people, organization people were playing. How is it for you in Iceland, being born there in terms of sport? Soccer was the big thing on the World Cup. What about today? If I go to Iceland talking about sports, what should I be aware of?
Well, soccer is still a very big part of us, and also
That's
the
great.
female soccer team is really strong.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. So and soccer is something. I have a 3.5 year old daughter, and she started practicing weekly now, once a week soccer. So soccer is a big thing, and handball. We are a very sports oriented country, so
Okay.
it's a big part of our culture.
I see. I see. Any favorite Champions League clubs that you support during the championship itself?
Uh, No, no, not particular. If I had to choose one in the Premier League, I'd probably choose Liverpool.
Great club.
Yeah.
Yeah, great club. And it's red, just like you, never walk alone. That's the
No,
part
no,
of
no.
it.
Exactly.
You never
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
alone. Last question. Any of these soccer players ever, as you are aware, used play to fly?
Oh
Do you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yes, yeah.
great. That's great. How do you have a special intro inside of the airplane? Sometimes videos about this go viral on TikTok. Is it something that you do for those who are, Soccer team is here, guys. Let's give them a round of applause, or no?
Oh no, no. So we haven't had the entire soccer team fly with us. We've definitely had players
Yes,
of the team with us. No, we haven't had any. Just something you see when people post on social media. No, we have not done any
I
PR
see.
for that.
I see, and that's great. I mean, again, we know about Iceland. We know that it's a country up north in Europe. We know it's one of the most beautiful countries. You have a lot of SEO articles about the things you have to do when visiting Iceland. So being here talking to you is already amazing, and it's giving me more energy to fly away to Iceland. But I don't see myself flying to the US. I would just go to Iceland and come back to Portugal, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, I mean, why just how do you say stay over for a while when I can book 2 to 3 weeks and stay there for even longer? That's the beauty of the remote environment, right?
Definitely, definitely.
That's it then, Andri. I truly appreciate your time here. It was amazing knowing more about Play, knowing more about airlines and yourself. Whoever's watching here, every single link will be down in the description. Remember to follow him on LinkedIn. Do you want people to follow you on LinkedIn, Andri?
Oh, definitely.
Awesome.
I
So
would like.
remember to follow him on LinkedIn, connect over there, see what he's up to. Andre, fly away, my friend. I wish you all the best. I wish you everything positive in 2025. And I'm really looking forward for my first flight with Play. It will be
Oh,
for my to-do list of this year, I promise.
thank you so much, Victor.
Amazing. Thank you much. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been Victor with eCoffee, the experts at G-Startup Solutions. Andre here was one of the best people we've ever had at the show. Andri, once again, thank you so much. Everybody else, stay safe. Thank you. And until next time, take care. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.